Jerseys of Hope is a nonprofit committed to inspiring a sense of community and well-being in hospitals through the donation of athletic jerseys to be worn by patients rooting for their favorite team. In the past 7 years, Jerseys of Hope has given out over 2,000 jerseys to lift the spirits of hospital patients. They have impacted the needy in 4 countries and 11 states. Please visit jerseysofhope.org to learn more. We're so honored to partner with Jerseys of Hope and be a small part of the large impact they make.
I've known pain in my heart, I've known pain in my body. I've asked God the questions all time and again. Is there anything too hard for you? I've seen the morning.
Hey everyone, this is Aaron. Welcome back to the Unscripted Podcast. Unscripted comes to you each episode from our Jerseys of Hope studios here in Columbus, Ohio. You can find out more about them at jerseysofhope.org. Our new intro song is called Stand on Your Promises by my dear friend and recording artist Kate Stanford. It was written and performed by Kate Stanford, Jamie Jangoshan, and Sam Hart. Produced by Sam Hart. You can find Kate on all your streaming platforms at katestanfordmusic.com. But for now, here's today's episode. All right, everybody, welcome back to Unscripted from my Jerseys of Hope studios here in Hilliard, Ohio. Big guest today. I'm very excited to introduce another book and another author and another story. And so, Shannon, can you just introduce yourself and we'll go from there?
Yeah, my name is Shannon Dingey. I'm the author of Behind the Curtain, and it's just a book sharing my journey of battling systemic mastocytosis and just the journey of that from really going through about age 19, 20, and then I had a good recovery from it and like a healing journey, and so wrote my book just sharing the story of kind of all that I went through.
So let's start at the very beginning. What is, I'm so sorry. What is it called again?
Systemic mastocytosis.
And what does that mean?
It is a blood disorder where the mast cells in your body, similar to white blood cells and red blood cells, which support your immune system. And for me, my mast cells misproduce, or I have abnormal one that misrelease histamine, and histamine is what your body releases anytime you have an allergic reaction to something. And that misrelease of histamine basically means that my body's in a constant allergic reaction state, and so it has to be managed by medication, diet, things like that.
Shannon, what led you to a doctor that began that process of figuring this out?
Yeah, so I was born with cutaneous mastocytosis, which is the skin disease version of it. So basically, I just had a lot of hives, rashes that was not easy to control at the beginning. As I got older, it got better. But then when I was 15, 16, I developed flu-like symptoms. I was sick for about a month and just wasn't recovering from it. My primary care doctor did tests for mono, ran a CBC, did a bunch of different tests trying to figure out what was wrong and couldn't land on a diagnosis. And so he referred me to an immunologist at our local children's hospital that was able to figure out that the cutaneous had transitioned inward and became systemic.
How did you handle that? What age are we talking about? Because that's a lot. Most kids are dealing with a lot of other things like, where's my locker? Who are my best friends? What am I going to have for lunch today? I have a feeling you were dealing with a lot more at a much younger age. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. When I was diagnosed, it was at 16. And so it turned my world upside down. I was playing basketball at the time. I went from being a normal kid to being like a straight A student. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm barely able to go to school. When I am at school, like, I'm dealing with flu-like symptoms, debilitating pain that like would keep any like normal student home, but like I couldn't just miss every day of school. And so with battling that on top of trying to just keep up with my schoolwork, I had to step away from playing basketball. And so it was a lot.
Do you feel like it has taken things from you?
Definitely, yeah. And it felt like, yeah, it took everything from me at that age. It affected like prom and homecoming, just anything that you look forward to as a teenager, as a junior, senior in high school, when you're thinking about like going off to college and just like starting your life. And I just was trying to make it to the next day. It was like when I was going through, it took 4 months to get a diagnosis. And when I was going through that season, I had grown up in the church, but wasn't really plugged into a church at that time. But I just cried out to God, and I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, I was scared that it was cancer, and just like, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this. And so I just, cried out, and it was kind of that turning point of like your family faith and transitioning it to having your own relationship with God. And so just clung to that because it was the only certain thing. It was the only help. It was the only like thing I could cling to when everything else was taken away from me. That's the only thing that remained.
I want to talk about the book in a minute, but I really got to camp out here for a second on what you just said. When and who helped you ground yourself in faith? Because goodness, Shannon, I can't. When did you ground yourself in faith, and who helped you?
Yeah, it was when I was waiting on a diagnosis. Well, I had to have a bone marrow biopsy done in March 2018. That was the 4 months after the symptoms started, and I cried out to the Lord, and it was just really kind of between me and him. I looked to like influencers, like Christian influence at the time, like Sadie Robertson, and just different influences like that to kind of point me to direction. I had a lot of conversations with my mom just about like what I was going through. I mean, it was really as much like her journey as it was mine, and just like we just come to prayer and just the hope that we would figure things out, that we would get things managed.
Shannon, one of my favorite quotes says, "You better take your so-called problems and put them in quotations." That's by John Mayer, the singer. Gosh, I think a lot of us have so-called problems. You are a warrior. Gosh, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. I'm trying to keep it together. Okay, you have a book, Behind the Curtain. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about your book?
Yeah. So my book starts at the beginning of basically my life, details just that like I was a twin and I was born early and in the NICU. And so it like kind of began from the beginning of then they didn't know what was wrong with me, diagnosed me with the cutaneous. From that point of birth till I was 16, I battled skin issues. I battled insecurities of being different than other kids, being different than other girls, like having an allergic reaction or having an allergy to alcohol and like not being able to use the same beauty products as other girls could. And so just feeling left out in that, having school field trips and sleepovers being a complication with me having so many allergies. And so just the struggles of what a normal child really doesn't have to think about, but I had to think about it being a lot more mature at such a young age to keep myself safe and to handle my condition. And then it talks about my journey from when I was diagnosed through going off to college and what that experience was like, and end up having to leave college because of going into anxiety and depression, a deep slump of just trying to stop, be out on my own and deal with the stress in school and battling health issues at the same time was really challenging. And so And then it just details my faith through it all, and just kind of how God led me to where I am right now. Just the desire to share my story to help others that battle chronic illnesses, diseases that maybe don't feel like they're seen and they're understood. And so just hoping that another book is out there, another person's story is out there, that maybe someone like me, who I was just like, if I could just find one person I could relate to, like, I feel like this would be a whole lot easier. And so just the desire to be that person for somebody else, hopefully.
Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. I think a lot of people bury their story or go into a place where they don't share their story. But your story is going to set someone else free. And so thank you for that. Just before we go any further in the conversation, where can people find it?
Yeah, so my book right now is available on Amazon. So yeah, just searching Behind the Curtain by Shannon Dingey, and you should be able to find it.
Shannon, can you spell your last name just so people have it?
Yes, it's Dingey.
Did you find healing? Did you find freedom in writing your book?
I did, yes. I had journaled all throughout my journey, and so it's just really compiled those journals for the first part of the book. It was just kind of rewriting those, and it was just like during my journey, that was my therapeutic outlet. I didn't always feel comfortable sharing what I was going through with other people, but I could write it out for days. And so I'm just finding comfort in that and peace in that, and just being kind of honest to God in a sense too. And then with those, kind of writing just like what I would like to say to other people, kind of in the second half of my book, of like how you can support someone with a chronic illness, or what more kind of like the journey looks like in the heart of it. But when I was going through the editing process, it did like surface a lot of the emotions of like, these were just writings in a journal, but a lot of what I shared, like most people, some of the things, like not even my parents, my family knew were struggles. And so to speak those out loud was very challenging. It kind of opened a way for emotional healing that like I kind of had to process through after that.
Shannon, I have to tell you, you are holy, righteous, and redeemed. And there's nothing that you can do today or 10 years from now for Jesus to love you any more than he does today. I know you received that, but how hard has it been to know that and yet fight what you've had to?
Yeah, gosh, it's been hard for sure. I mean, you just like, you can know the truth, and there's freedom in the truth that you read, the verses that you read, the verses that you cling to, but it was a fight, and it is challenging to wake up in pain and go to bed in pain and repeat that day after day, and still cling that like there's purpose in this. I'm going to make a thing that's going to be brighter days ahead. But it's hard. It's hard to believe that when you're in the thick of it. And to like, as a teenager, like I didn't have the like rock solid things that I even have now. And so it was swayed by losing friends, by feeling like I failed at life when I had to leave college, and just like trying to handle the ups and downs of life, and also just trying to manage your health, and just people not understanding what you go through behind closed doors, the moments of crying in a ball on the floor in pain, or just from the emotional weight of it all. And I'm not good at sharing emotions, and so a lot of times they will get bottled up and then it'll just come out in a big breakdown of emotion. But there's freedom in that. There's freedom in sharing your emotions. There's freedom in being honest, because people can't understand what you don't share with them. And so as hard as it is to continuously tell people how hard it is, it helps them gain a better understanding of what I go through. And I mean, even after releasing my book, like I've been on another health journey the last like 6 months or so. That really is like a similar path that I walked before, and it's not any easier. You would think like you would be like, I've done it through it before, like I can do it again, but it doesn't make it any easier. It still shakes your faith. Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it together. I'm a wreck for you. Like, I think most of us hearing your story, especially as a dad of daughters, and knowing that they worry about TikToks and Instagram Reels and who unfollowed who, you're facing a lot bigger issues. And I think I love that you're sharing your story, because it reminds us that those things don't matter, given today's toxic, crazy social media world. Again, I have to go ask this question. Where did you find your faith? Where did you find your foundation? Because you are so strong. And I'm so sorry. I'm crying. I'm glad we're not recording on video, because I'm struggling as a dad of daughters to understand how you have the strength and faith and courage that you have. So where did you find that?
And it's honestly in the depth of the pain, just seeking anything, something that provides hope, that provides peace, strength. And it's really, you realize like everything else is fleeting. Like there's nothing I can cling to. Like, so Lord just provides, there's that peace, comfort, strength that going through Instagram or even finding somebody that had been on a similar journey or is going through another chronic illness. You can see their story, but it's not nobody's story is the same. But there's that knowing that when you seek the Lord, that He understands, He knows, He's been through what I'm going through, and so He fully knows and fully understands that. And so it was just honestly that I had nothing else. There's nothing else for me to cling to. Friends left. I didn't have sports anymore. I was struggling through school. There's just nothing to cling to. And there's just this sense of peace, relationship with Him that just provided that it has to get better. There has to be purpose in this, because why at 16 would I go through this if He wasn't going to use it, or if there wasn't some type of purpose in this, because this can't be all that life is for me. And so, I just clung to that.
Behind the curtain, what is the purpose behind the title?
Yeah, it has a few different kind of things behind it. The first being that with chronic illnesses, they're called invisible illnesses, because you can see me walking around and I look like a perfectly normal person that seems to be just like any other 20-something-year-old as a teenager, any normal teenager, but I'm battling so much more. And so that was kind of the behind the curtain, that what I'm going through is behind closed doors. And then also I hid a lot of what I went through, because I felt shame. I struggled with my identity. And so I hid that away. I felt like, because friends left, that like I couldn't share, I couldn't be honest about like the pain that I was going through. And so it caused me to push family away. It caused me to let my illness take me to a dark place, to isolate me and kind of pull me behind the curtain, in a sense, where I was just all alone. And then the last kind of meaning behind it is sort of kind of the biblical meaning of like the veil being just
Torn
lifted
into.
when I fully like surrendered my life to the Lord and just dove into scripture and just realized that He has purpose for me and that He wants to use my story, that this pain isn't wasted. And so it was kind of like at that moment when, Bill was 22 and kind of I emerged, I was able to like step out in confidence of like, no, this is a story to be shared. Like people need to know what I've been through and what I'm going through.
Hey, Shannon, I have 3 questions for you. Number 1 is, where is Shannon today?
She's in the thick of another health journey. 6 months ago, back in September, I had a bad flare, the worst flare I've had since spring of 2020. And it caused me to, or somehow I ended up getting neuropathy. After that took all function from my hands. I lost total ability to write, to hold objects. It got to the point where like I almost like lost the ability to walk, and was able to get treatment and get better from that. Back in February, I had another bad flare, was hospitalized pretty much the whole month of February, and then found out that the neuropathy had caused gastroparesis, which is paralyzation of basically my GI tract. And so basically my stomach is partially paralyzed. And so now I'm dealing with that. So in the last 6 months, I've acquired 2 new chronic illnesses that I'm just fighting through and working through, but still like just going through the highs of releasing a book and the lows of a new health journey that is posing a lot of uncertainty like the last one, and just praying and believing that the Lord will see me through and there'll be another book sharing this journey and that He's going to use it for His good and to create some story out of it.
Shannon, your strength is incredible. I'm a wreck. I don't know about people listening, but I'm a wreck. So the second question is, what is Shannon's hope for the future?
My hope is to create some nonprofit. It's been a seed that the Lord has planted in my heart since 2020, and I don't know exactly what it would be. I know I wanted to serve people with chronic illnesses and disabilities, but I don't know what it would look like. But that's just a hope that sharing this book and sharing my story will turn into the ability to start that project and just serve people like me and just help families with just probably financial like support, because it's very easy for those with chronic illnesses and the families to get overlooked in the financial burden that it is of the journey. And so being able to kind of get back from the support I haven't received and from the support I have received through this present journey. And so that's kind of my goal on that, what I feel like the Lord is leading.
Okay. I can help you with the podcast. I can help you with your website. And I have a feeling this audience, as small as it may be, might be able to help you with some funding. So that's 3A. We'll talk about that offline, because I want to really support you. And I have a feeling if anybody's listened to your heart and your journey, they'll do the same. Last but not least, where can we get the book? Like, how can people get the book?
Yes. So you can get the book on Amazon. It's available up there. That's the only place I'm selling at currently.
It's on Amazon. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to commit that the Unscripted Collective will absolutely help you. Let's do that offline, okay?
Okay.
I promise we're going to help. Okay. Where can people find you on social media?
Yes. Instagram is Shannon _Dingey, last name Dingey. And I believe it's the same on TikTok. I share videos of my journey as well. Those are the only 2 platforms that I'm on.
And last but not least, Shannon, if there's someone listening to this, a parent or someone that's struggling What's the best advice you have? What's the quote that you cling to? What's the verse that you cling to? And honestly, the quote doesn't have to be scriptural. We all cling to something. So what is the anchor? What's the lighthouse for you when you're in the storm?
That I think it's like, I mean, I cling to Philippians 4, just that, like, the Lord is our strength, and He will provide, and He will get us through, and that everything in this world is fleeting, but just cling to Jesus, and He'll make it through. I think it's the biggest thing. I don't know if I have a specific verse or, like, quote that I cling to.
Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your strength. And thank you for clinging to Jesus. It'd be a lot easier to go a lot of different ways. And I'm so proud of you. And thank you for being on today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Last time, where can people find the book?
You can find it on Amazon, Behind the Curtain by Shannon Dingey.
And the last name, and spell last name for me one more time.
Yes. Last name Dingey.
And they can find you on Instagram and TikTok as well, right? Thank you, Shannon. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. I pray for you. I pray over you, and I can't wait to see you find an ultimate healing one day. And until then, cling to him, because he's got a purpose for you. Even if it was to record with this guy and make me cry and just be inspired by you. Thank you for writing the book, and thank you for coming on Unscripted today.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Unscripted Podcast. Make sure to review and share wherever you listen to your podcast. It really helps out our mission to encourage everyone to live life unscripted. Until next time, keep living life unscripted.